again, but like at night, if you're inside and you're writing and everywhere else is wet and rainy and thundery outside, then it could do. Or it puts you in mind of a scene in a film about how people could meet. Or there's a great film in a film called The Graduate. And
you mentioned several times.
yeah, and we should watch it. It's good. And Dustin Hoffman is in a car and he's seeing somebody, the daughter of this woman, and she said, I don't want you to see my daughter, because they've had an affair. And there's a scene where he's seen the daughter and he's really excited and he goes back for a date. And it's in California and it's raining really hard and he's got a car with a roof up. And as he pulls in, it's raining really hard and all you see is the legs come towards the car, so you think it's the young girl coming to have the date because he's happy. And then when the door opens, it's the older woman, it's the mother, who just sits in the car and she's wet. And she says, just drive. And he tries to argue with her and she says, don't, you're not seeing mine. And it changes the mood completely. You think it's a kind of sunny day, they're going to be happy in the car, and this wet woman comes from outside. And so it's just, it can disguise things as well, I suppose. So, but usually it wouldn't help me write. And I also would try and avoid making a problem for a director by saying it has to be rainy if it doesn't need to be rainy, I suppose.
So, talking about the mood and the weather, what do you think the raining days here in England contribute to the personalities or characters of everyone here?
I think it makes people maybe slightly more miserable, but it also makes them a bit more resigned and resilient, so that people are a bit more, they have to get on with things. Yeah. Instead of thinking, oh, I thought it was going to be sunny today. I've seen in America when it rained, and I can understand why, but in California, people were completely taken aback by it. And it happened in Spain once in May, and the rivers of water flowed down the streets and all the sewers kind of overflowed, and it was just like, people weren't used to it, whereas here it's a bit more expected. Although it makes people talk about the weather all the time. It's just like, it's boring really to talk about too much, in terms of people just discuss it all the time, and you can't do anything about it. If it's going to rain, it's going to rain. We can't stop it, so it's a bit pointless. But recently there's been lots of flooding, and that is kind of quite interesting, that it does affect people's lives. Most of the time you think it rains, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes you think if it rains, those people are going to be out of their homes again, and it's going to destroy all their belongings, and it's going to be, So I guess people do die in it. There was a big storm in the, I think it was 60 years ago, that came up the east coast that killed lots of people. So, but usually it's just discomfort rather than life or death.
That reminds me, when I first came here, I didn't know what to talk to the local people. So the tutor told me, if you don't know what to say, you just ask about the weather.
Well, this takes us back to the point of your film, I suppose. You take something really simple and you see what it means to people, which is good, because you start thinking, I don't know anything about the rain, but then it does make you think about films, about people that you met in the rain, about waiting in the rain for somebody, which obviously can be kind of annoying, or it could be exciting, sort of thing. So, about protecting people if it's your children, in terms of them not liking it. It's in terms of a sort of image sometimes, I suppose, is pushing it. When my kids were really little, and you'd push them in a wheelchair and they'd get the rain in their face for the first time, and it'd be kind of awkward. So yeah.
Do you have any special memories of rains or rainy day? What happens in the rainy days in your life?
When we were kids, my mum would always make the best of, even when the weather wasn't very nice and we were on summer holiday. So we used to go on holiday in England quite often, and even in the summer it rains. So you'd be on the beach in Wales on holiday trying to have a good time, and if it rained, we'd all be going, oh no, we have to go indoors and things. And my mum would always be saying, I'm sure there's a bit of blue over there somewhere. She'd always be the optimist that would be going, I'm sure it'll cheer up in a bit. And then an hour later it still wouldn't, but she was so full of it'll be better, and we were all, no it won't. So yeah, I suppose my mum thinking it was going to stop raining any minute when it never did was kind of summer holiday option. Because we used to play cricket, kind of English sports game. a bit like baseball, and we used to play it on the beach and when we were on holiday, and we played in the rain, and you don't usually play cricket in the rain sort of thing, but because we had no choice because it was England. So that was probably one of my memories, yeah, going with family holidays and trying to make the most of it. And we were camping quite often, so you'd have the rain on the tent, which would be quite loud and noisy, but quite really, you know, it's kind of reassuring in a way, because again you were warm and wrapped up in the tent, but outside it was really kind of pouring it down. So that's it.
So if the rain is very makes the people the mood not very low, but will be not too happy. If you have the rainy day, how to adjust yourself, your mood, how to use some method to eat some chocolate. Or
Well, I suppose a lot of adverts have to do with warm food and soup and things like that. So the idea of it being cold and wet, that you come in and you have something that makes you feel good. So there is there's a trade-off that if you're out in the rain and you get soaked, when you come in, the fire is on and it's warm and stuff like that. So when I was a kid, I played rugby at school quite often, and we used to play in the rain, get really wet and muddy, and then you'd come home and then you would sit in front of the fire. So you get so cold and wet, and then when you sat in front of the fire, it was an extra treat. Instead of just it's the fire, it was just like, oh, it's just, you know, your hands would be freezing, so that was quite nice. Or getting in the bath and filling it with mud because you were coming. So.
if you want to describe the impact of the rain, so you choose 3 words to describe it. Which words you want to use?
Miserable. Grey. Predictable, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to rain sometime. Or maybe not this week, when you want it to rain for this. Yeah, it's typical of filming.
Maybe the next,
whenever you want it.
Maybe next week. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you'll get some image sometime. Don't worry. There must be lots of stock footage.
I can do it by myself. Put some water.
Yeah, spray it down.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's like you're waiting a bus. When you're waiting a bus, it's never come.
Yeah,
When you're
yeah.
not waiting this one, it's
Yeah.
keep
Oh, maybe
coming all the
I
time.
can shoot in my bathroom.
Yeah, it's a good thing. You know, someone's waiting a bus in the rain and it's never come.
I guess you do get an odd image, don't you, when the car goes past and just sprays somebody, you know, completely. It could be. I have done it to somebody once, but not on purpose. Okay.
Okay, thank you so
Right.
much.
Thank you so much.
So you need to edit that, I think, don't you?
Yeah. Very
It's too
good.
much. So who else you doing? You got Roger,
Roger and
Owen.
Valerie. Owen will be cancelled. He said he will be busy on tomorrow, so he can. Later Jules will tell his.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
When he finish his class, and tomorrow we'll have my flatmate and their friend, and Ella will tell her story.
Who?
Ella.
Owen's sister.
Oh yeah, yeah, she's
Yeah,
great,
yeah,
isn't she? Yeah, yeah. Ella.
Then
That's Sadette. I suppose she's. Yeah.
And I asked Ella to help me to find more people.
Yeah.
Or maybe later I can go to the cafeteria to find more people to tell
Yeah.
my story.